change gears now to focus on the rise of radical environmental protests in Britain, which has led to several arrests over the past few weeks and months. Whether it's activists gluing themselves to roads, upending the supermarket dairy products, defacing priceless art and statues, or climbing on top of bridges. Protests most certainly play a role in solidifying government agenda, but the public backlash is growing. For more on this, I'm now being joined by Alex de Koning, the spokesperson of the UK's most infamous climate change group, Just Stop Oil. Alex joins me from Newcastle. Some commentators are saying that you've completely alienated the British public from your incredibly important calls. Why are you doing this? Is it working for you?
Yeah, so Just Stop Oil, we're trying to do this in order to make sure there's no new fossil fuel licenses in the UK. Because we have 8 years of oil in reserve, which is more than enough time to make a fair transition to renewable energies. But instead, the government are opening up over 100 new fossil fuel licenses when renewable energies are currently 9 times cheaper. So for people in the UK, our energy bills could be as low as £400 instead of £3,600. And for all your viewers in Nigeria, you already know how bad the climate crisis is. And countries like the UK and the US and all these big global north countries are the ones that's causing the problems, which very sadly a lot of the people in Africa are having to deal with right now. So we need to be doing everything we possibly can to make sure that the situation does not get worse. It's a global crisis, and it's about time we started taking responsibility for that in the UK.
Yeah, you're right about that. It is a global crisis, and our viewers definitely know the impact. We're having serious floods in Nigeria at the moment. That's killed hundreds of people. It's a big story. It impacts our viewers more than it does people in Newcastle. But for example, you know, throwing a can of tomato soup onto a beautiful Van Gogh painting, how does that help the cause, Alex?
Well, that actually got more people talking about the climate crisis than, very sadly, the floods in Nigeria. We don't hear about things like that on the mainstream media, despite how awful it is. So we need to be doing what we can in order to get that message heard. There's more morning news coverage when Jeff Bezos, the billionaire, went to space for 6 minutes. There's more morning news coverage of that in a day than there was about the climate crisis in all of the year 2020. Why do we care so much more about a billionaire's overcompensating rocket than the future of all life on Earth?
Yeah. Well, I suppose some people do care. The good thing about the floods, it did actually make mainstream news because it's a big issue. I want to talk about fracking, Alex, because Rishi Sunak has, you know, reimposed that ban that was put in place in 2019 during the Conservative manifesto. Environmentalists have said, you know, this is a win for common sense. Do you think that's good? At least that is a start, right?
Of course, it's a good start, but it's obviously nowhere near far enough. As I've said, renewable energies are currently 9 times cheaper, and we should be doing other solutions like looking at insulation, which will cut energy bills in half. I'm doing my PhD in green hydrogen production, and I know that there's so many solutions out there that we could be using. Tidal power, subsidizing public transport, but we're just not using them. So that's why there's only one solution that really matters here in the UK, and that's massive resistance. And deep down, a lot of your viewers, they know that I'm right.
Okay, Alex, well, it's certainly an important cause. And, you know, again, for our viewers, it does impact them so much more than people in the UK. But just be careful, stay safe, because, you know, there are some angry commuters. I see them on the tube every morning. Just, you know, stay off the roads and, you know, stay out of trouble. But keep up the good work otherwise. Thank you so much, Alex de Koning, spokesperson at Just Stop Oil.